In Excel, you have the option to run a spell check over your spreadsheet. To run the spell check, there's a variety of ways. First of all, you could go to the Review tab in the ribbon, and you have the option Spelling to the far left. Notice also, when you rest on it, there is a shortcut key to run the spell check, which is F7, the function key F7. Also, if you added the spelling icon to your quick access toolbar in one of the earlier chapters, you'll have this button also to run the spelling checker. Either way, I'm going to click in A1, so I'm at the very top of my spreadsheet, or press Control Home, and I'll run spelling. When I click the button, a wee window will come up if it finds a word that is not in its dictionary. So it doesn't mean the word's wrong, it's just saying that the word is not in its dictionary. One of the things I'd also check having run the spell checker is that the dictionary language is set to English New Zealand, so that the spelling is correctly proofed. This is bringing to my attention that there is an instance of the word northwards, and if I move this down a little bit, I can see it in D9. It believes, given these suggestions, that northwards should either have an apostrophe, or should not have an S, or should have a space and be two words. I'm actually going to choose this suggestion here, northwards, with an apostrophe. Now I can change this one instance by clicking the change button, or if I know that northwards is in this spreadsheet several times, I'll click the change all button and it'll change all instances. But I'll just click the change button. Immediately it moves on to the next word that's not in its dictionary, which is Mishi. This is actually correct, so I'm going to ask it to ignore. Now again, I can just ignore that one occurrence, or if I know that word is in there several times, I can ignore all occurrences. So I'll ignore all. The next thing it brings up in the same cell is Niku. It believes that Niku is a misspelling. Again, I would ignore all. And now it brings up Aikura. So it's going to have a field day with this sheet. In this particular case, I might decide to add this word to my dictionary because it's a correct spelling. So I have the option here, which I won't click, and suggest you probably don't click either, but just be aware that it will add that word to the dictionary if you click that button. And the dictionary is a shared application, so if you add a word like Aikura to the dictionary in Excel, suddenly Word will recognize that word, and so will PowerPoint, and so will Outlook, and every other Microsoft program. So in the case of Māori words, particularly Rotorua, Taupō, Whakatane, Tukaroa, Kawerau, I would be adding those words to the dictionary. If you add something to the dictionary, or you change something or ignore something incorrectly, I just want you to be aware that you've got an undo last option. So I can undo the last thing I did, undo the thing I did before that, and so on. So you can go back several times also. The language, of course, is listed in here, so you also have a variety of languages, as I mentioned in here, and there are some options in here as well. For example, you can ignore words in uppercase, you can ignore words that contain numbers, or not, by ticking and unticking these options. You can also ask it to ignore internet and file addresses, such as www or http, etc. You can also ask it to flag repeated words, and things like this. And I'm just going to go cancel. You can also use the autocorrect, which means that every time it finds northwards spelt here, and you want it to replace with northwards with an apostrophe, you can choose the autocorrect option, which means that whenever you type northwards without an apostrophe, it will automatically change it to northwards with an apostrophe. You can also see autocorrect options if you go into this options button and you go into the autocorrect options here. When you go into autocorrect options, basically what Excel will do is if you type two initial capitals, it will correct it to one initial capital. If you don't capitalize the first letter of a sentence, it will, because this option's ticked. If you don't capitalize the name of a day, such as Monday, it will, because this option's ticked. And if you've got accidental use of caps lock, it'll automatically correct it. So the idea here is if you've got your caps lock button on and you start typing, you suddenly realize, don't backspace, As soon as you hit the space bar, it'll correct accidental use of caps lock. It will also replace any word in this column automatically with any word in this column. So when I go bracket C bracket, it will automatically give me a copyright symbol, and so on and so forth. And these are all default. I haven't added them. These are all what come with Excel. So when you type accessories this way, it'll change it to the correct spelling here. So this is replace and with. And in fact, you can add stuff. I can say replace Kathy with Kathy Barker, and I can add that to the list, and there it is there. I can just as easily delete it if I don't want it in the list, and it will actually remove it. And that's a completely different one there if that's distracting you. That's one I want to keep. That's one I set up earlier where it replaces CB with Kathy Barker. So I'll go OK and OK. And you can cancel the spell check at any time by hitting the cancel button.